Welcome, my name is Janine Johnson and I will be discussing the new phase of diversity and why it should be called overabundance. I'll be explaining my reasonings and addressing the metaphor, the perspective, and the emphasis of overabundance. Addressing the metaphor, I believe that because we are overflowing with such great amounts of unique dimensions as a nation, that we are searching for not only true inclusion but for justice as well, because we all want a voice, and it's an amount of overflowing like outgroups that all want identification. Addressing our multiculturalness, I feel as though it goes along with the metaphor of inclusion and justice. Um, the we pride ourselves as a nation that it manifested from immigrants, and that we are very diverse, which is all very true. However, we put labels and stereotypes on certain social and political aspects that create negative exclusions. Create negative exclusions, and it's a struggle to be so diverse and justify and give a voice and represent our broad diversity without with like total acceptance. For example, I am a mixed race individual. My mother is Hispanic and my father is Caucasian, and standardized tests from when I was younger didn't have the list of race and ethnicity as it did today. I distinctly remember in the 5th grade, the first time I ever had the option of choosing other, because I had always chosen white Caucasian slash non-Hispanic, when in reality I knew I was a mixed race. They didn't give that option until recently, and so I feel like the metaphor and the overabundance is justified is because not only are we accepting our diversity, but we are moving towards actions that represent and give a voice to our diversity and our multiculturalness. Moving on to perspective. The perspective of overabundance is putting action behind the inequalities and accepting the accepting of differences, as well as the inclusion and giving value to the insights. As in, we're moving forward. We're not just talking about acceptance and inclusion, but we're putting forth actions. That's what I feel the perspective is of overabundance. Take media, for example, and how much it's changed, with social media being the primary source of our news, and that we are so overstimulated that we have to diffuse whether it's truthful or just a basically an opinion with no facts that is discriminating against different things. Take, for instance, equal rights as part of perspective. In the last few years, we have put forth those actions and given justice to the overwhelming abundance of diversity, because we are now a nation that accepts marriage equality. We didn't have that prior to 2010. And so I feel as though overabundance can be categorized as 2010 to present. finally, for emphasis on overabundance is putting forth the focus that we're pushing forward, that we are truly seeking inclusion and acceptance of diversity. Each person in a family is unique. With each person and its family is unique, and its diversity is just as unique as the person. And everyone deserves inclusion because we all seek acceptance. Whether you're first, second, third generation, fourth generation immigrant, you may or may not know what your true background and what your true race or ethnicity is. And you put that diversity on top of any gender diversity, sexual orientation, what have you. We're all seeking acceptance, and so I feel as though the emphasis is on creating an open mind and having a progressive justice, putting forth a progressive mindset that is willing to be open and listen to the needs and advocate and create an incentive to put forth actions to create an acceptance of all diversity. We're moving forward very slowly, but we are moving forward to a more progressive state of mind where we can seek out justice for different diversity and multiculturalness and dimensions. Thank you very much for listening to this video and my perspective on how diversity should be addressed as overabundance.